Ninja Nonsense.
Ninja Nonsense. Classic. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to know about the IBM thing.
Yeah.
How long was that whole work?
We worked for probably 6 hours a day. Probably 6 hours. I don't think it was 8. 6 hours a day for maybe 4 weeks, 6 weeks. It was long, and basically we were just recording things. September 1st, 1965, September 2nd, 1966, September 3rd, 1967, just all of that stuff, all of these things, so that they can then pick sounds apart and put them together. Because the voice that is now Watson, he recorded all of the same thing. There were 4 of us who did all of that. And it was just endless. And then,
He's a really nice guy.
really great. But then ultimately replacing people because he doesn't have to go in and record anything. They just use that, so they pay him one time. Then. So that's where it gets a little tricky. Yes, did you have a question?
Yes. What are some movies where you actually, if you did, where you actually in person played as an actor?
I used to do some work on a soap opera called Another World. I did some work on that, and then I also was again, it's the weirdest job you ever had. There was a woman who played twins, and I was always the back of the head of the other twin. So we did all the scenes together, acting it out, but I had to act like she would be. Like one time she hurt her leg skiing, so she could only sit a certain way. So I'm thinking, okay, she's hurt, she's going to be like this, so I have to sit like that so that my head will match how she's going to be when we switch places. And it was a really weird job. And I've done some small films and things like that. Weird. Being an actor is weird. That's for sure. Wonderful, but weird.
When you,
I know you. You're the back of the
The head,
head.
that girl, yeah. That's why I'm very self-conscious.
would you do any student films? Like, is there any opportunities for that to happen? Like student films or silent films? Like,
Yeah, I've worked on Friends films, and then when I was living in New York, there were more films with New York University. There was a lot of student film stuff there. Right now where I live, there's not an opportunity for that, but I would do it. It also depends too, because my schedule is weirdly busy, and so that takes up a lot of time. One great thing about my career being voice related is it's been flexible, and I've been able to be home with my daughter and pick her up from school, and I don't have to do that so much now, but it's been great that I've been able to have a career and still have a home life and be able to go on field trips and things like that. So a film takes up a longer amount of time, TV takes up a longer amount of time, and I wasn't able to give that time for a while. So yeah, I have more time to do that now.
networking is important, isn't it?
Network is important everywhere, in anything that you do, but especially acting. You have to know people. We recently moved to Los Angeles, and we don't know that many people there. So me getting work there is much more difficult than when I was in New York. So it's really starting over.
So how different is voiceover between now and 20 years ago?
Well, first of all, the biggest difference, well, if you go all the way back, we have, since we use computers now, Pro Tools is something that people use, and you can splice voices and move things around, so you don't have to do things as often. In Speed Racer, everybody knows that cartoon.
Yeah.
There was a story of the guy who played Pops. He was a tiny man, and he would have to go do his whole line, and then if it was wrong, you'd have to go all the way back and start over. Now they could cut it, and I could just do the end part, where they can move it and shift it to fit the flap. They can move all that stuff, but back in the 60s, you couldn't do that. Now it's even faster that you can record things and switch it around. Now I can be in Los Angeles and record something there that's for a show that's in New York. I can record an audition here and email it back to my agent in LA. I have jobs that I do on the road, and I can send them to New York. You know, that's the difference now. That we're so mobile.
But also, like before, if you were in New York and you moved
to Connecticut, let's say, which
Yeah.
is just like
Not
a
far.
few hours, but you would work and you were working on a job, like a voiceover, you probably would have lost the job by moving to Connecticut because they wouldn't like let you do it, and you could do the voice in that studio in a studio in Connecticut, right, and like email it back to New York. So you would be replaced essentially, and then
Right.
someone else would take your job. So now you can move. You can be working on a show that's based in New York,
Right.
and you can be in Los Angeles and phone in and Skype in and do it that way.
Yeah.
So it's very.
I work on a show called Mofi, and it's a Japanese character that's a stop action is made in Italy, and then we record the voices in New York. And now that I moved to Los Angeles, I record there in my studio at home, which is my setup in my closet basically, and then I send that back to them, and then they send it to Italy. It's all we're around the world in it almost, and we can do all of that now. 10 years ago, we couldn't do that. So things have changed very fast.
10 years?
Even 5 years ago, I don't think. Actually, even 5 years ago, when I moved to Los Angeles, I would have been off that show. So it's pretty amazing. Actually, lucky for me.
Yeah, but I would like to still work at a show with you or Tara Strong or John DiMaggio,
Right.
Greg Griffin or anything like that.
All of those people are in LA, and all of those shows are in LA. So for that, for instance, you want to get there, get the jobs, and then when you move, they would still work with you. But to get into the opportunities that they have, you have to be in LA for that.
So how do you get opportunities in a place where the market is so small?
Well, you can find opportunities. You have to find out who's doing the work and then audition for them. There's opportunities everywhere, but it's just what you're open to. Like I said, I cobbled together my career with so many different types of jobs that it's not all cartoons, basically.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be open to what's around. There's opportunities to read at the library to kids, and then you start getting experience that way, or all different things.
So is there still like a resume, or is
Yes.
like I'm confused with voiceover because I've been trying to get work, and every time I tried to get a job, nobody would take me because I didn't have prior. Like
Right. You want to get as much
worked-
experience as you can. Yeah, your resume does matter.
Yeah, so the main thing is that I've been trying to get experience, but I can't get experience without prior experience. And
Well,
I did
that's what I'm
do
saying. Volunteering helps a lot because you get a lot of experience that way, and they're not paying you, so they're not as picky. And so you really can work up your resume that way. I mean, that's one way to do it. You're working for free, so it doesn't help to pay your rent, but it is a good way to get experience.
All right, so
Yeah. Good luck with that. What's your question?
What are some of the weirdest fan experiences that you have?
Luckily I don't have a lot of really weird things because people are really amazing who have come up to speak to me. And to hear people's experiences, one thing I do find amazing is how, especially with Pokemon, so many people's experience is similar in that they related to the characters, they came home from school to watch it, they bonded with people because of it, and that I find amazing. Regardless of where you are in the world, that there was something about that show that really touched people. Maybe the weirdest thing is that people do come in costume, and one girl had a bra that she made out of Pokeballs.
No, it was a bra that she painted.
Oh yeah, pink.
It
She
was
looked
a
like Pokeballs.
like a Pokeball
Bra.
So she painted it.
And it was paper mache,
Yeah.
sturdy, and then I had to sign it. It was a little awkward for both of us. We were determined to get through it. That's probably the weirdest thing
Sometimes it's
ever.
weird because some people are in costumes and then they come up to you but they're in character but then they don't get out of character to talk to you. So you're talking to a zombie and it's hello.
Yeah.
Hello, and then sometimes it's weird if they're in character but then they switch out and they're oh hi I love you, but you're
You're a
zombie
zombie.
right, that. It's kind of weird, but it's
it on. I'm sorry, sweetie. But like a big mask or something, I'm not comfortable with that, so I'd rather see eyes. I just want to know, because I would recognize the people, but with a mask on, I'll never recognize them.
So it has boggled my mind like for the longest time. But since you're voice acting, we all know that most people enjoy ice cold water.
Yes.
So does ice cold water or any cold beverage, for that matter, have a bad effect on the voice?
I think that's a really great question. I prefer room temperature, actually, but I do think I don't drink cold water most of the time.
When was the last time you drank ice
I was in a cafe. Maybe, yeah. No, we were at Left Bank. We had ice water. Chimera. We had ice water there.
So 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mostly drink room temperature. I'm not a big ice cube person. It's very personal. Ice cube, not like, but I'm a big person and I'm a big Run DMC fan. But I think a lot of people do have room temperature because the cold water does affect your vocal cords a little bit, and it freezes them. And then they're preserved. So yeah, go for room temperature. Yes.
But do people like come to you on the streets when you're walking or shopping or something and be like, hey, your voice over an ash or something?
Yeah, never. Coming to a convention or something when someone calls my name and kind of recognizes me, it's stunning to me.
Here people recognize you.
Yeah,
but
it
never.
doesn't happen in real life, ever.
Even at conventions.
Yeah,
Like we're walking around the floor and like sometimes we see an ash and I go like, okay, go talk to them. And so we go up and we're like, nice costume. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, oh, okay.
I have for fun
and then they
gotten
come
a
up to like
picture.
our table later and they're like
Stunned.
so shocked.
Yeah, because I could have not waited in line to talk to you.
But you know.
Yeah, it's really, there's nothing, my life is beyond normal. It's so boring and normal.
Yeah.
I suppose it would be fun to be recognized, but I mean, at the same time, it's nice to be able to go to the grocery store in your sweats and not really thinking someone's taking a photo. I mean, there's a lot of actors who can't go out of their house without people being there, and I just can't imagine how hard that must be. So I don't have that problem.
Choose between acting in person or voiceover?
No, I wouldn't do either, actually.
So
I
you
mean,
wouldn't like prefer voiceover?
no. Because I miss being on stage, actually.
Sometimes I want you to be on screen because we're friends with people who are Power Rangers from like the original Power Rangers thing, and we go out and
I like that too.
so we go out to dinner with them, and we go up and we would go up and be like, can we get a table? And they go, oh, no,
3 hour
sorry.
wait, 3 hour
3 hour wait, and then like the Power Rangers like, okay, let me go up and let me just see. Like they just go and we're normal, and they go, oh hi, and everyone's like, you're a Power Ranger, and we get seated right away. So that's when sometimes I would like you to be a
for our
little
real
more
life.
like on-screen famous, because
Yeah.
then we could get some cool perks.
Well, honestly, I think nowadays too, a lot of movie stars are getting more animation roles, and a lot of people who are more famous that way are getting all the roles. So I would choose to be on screen because then I could have more choice of other work. Now I think my work is limited, actually, because I'm not so known like that. So yeah, I'm certainly open to other auditions. Yes.
What's John Youngbach like?
Super nice. I know him, but I don't know him. Like I don't have his number on my phone. He's awfully nice though. And I've seen him mostly at conventions, and he's always really nice. That's kind of boring to say that all nice all the time, but he is very talented.
Nice. Me down to earth.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking at my watch to see what time it is. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. Yes.
During your voice acting for Ash for Pokemon, it's been like 8 years. So during that span of time, have you met any of your Japanese counterparts?
None.
Japanese?
I've never met any. And as a matter of fact, because it's the 20th anniversary, I think it would be great there's a big convention in Tokyo, and I would love it if there was a chance to be invited to that and meet anyone who's been on Pokemon because I admire them so much. And to be able to kind of, I don't know, what do you say, take on Ash's sneakers from there, like to step into the shoes that were formed so amazingly by the original Japanese cast. It would be an honor. But I just haven't. I've met some people from Nintendo who came to New York who were kind of there, but we didn't have time to talk to them. It was just a hello, and then we get in the booth and we work on the video game or whatever they were in town for. But we didn't really have a chance to hang out or actually talk at all. So the biggest thing for me was meeting the two people who created the names of the Pokemon. I met them at the premiere for the first movie. That I thought was really cool, and I talked to them for a minute, maybe, but that's it, really. So I would love to do that.
Is there still like product brands like video games or things now, many years later, where people would call you and be like, we need your original voice? Would you still do that, or are there opportunities like that?
I would definitely do that. I haven't had that opportunity. I don't think anyone's called for that. I'm trying to think.
Also, sometimes, like, especially now with technology, they have your voice saved, so sometimes they just use it without. They don't need you
Do
to.
you have copyright for it?
No, no. You don't have any control over it. And even stuff I did as Ash, someone would say, "Are you the voice on this toy?" Let's say. I don't know if it's me because I didn't necessarily work on that, but they were able to take whatever they wanted. So, no, I don't think so. I did work on Final Fantasy, and I did have to come back for the next game, and that was like a year and a half, 2 years later. So, like that kind of thing, but that's pretty much it so far. Yeah.
Apart from Ash, did you play any other characters in Pokemon?
Yeah, I played Ash, May, Ash's mom, Diglett, Sentret. Rena played Sentret also. She
My
was
claim
4.
to fame.
Yeah. And then I played a bunch of other characters in movies and, side Gary's cheerleaders.
So how
I played
difficult
a lot
was
of
it?
those.
How
Yeah.
difficult was it playing them simultaneously?
Well, the great thing is because we did our lines one at a time, it was awesome when I got to be Ash, and then Ash's mom, and then May, and we were all in a scene together, then I would end up just talking to myself. So that was pretty great. Thank you. And then because most of the other actors weren't in when I went in, so I never heard anybody else while I was working. So that was pretty great. But it's always like, oh, can you do this person, or can you just do some what's called walla, which is just like voices in the background. I do that a lot. I'm on Sailor Moon right now, and I do a lot of other characters, and when Sailor Pluto isn't on, and then sometimes when I am in, because we go in and we work, I can do 6 episodes in my 2 hours there because I'm just doing my lines. So that's also why I don't know what happens in the episodes, because they're all squished together, and I don't know what season we're in or what, it's all just kind of a ball of Sailor Pluto. Yes?
Can you add for us your favorite line from Pokemon?
I guess what I love about Pokemon is when Ash has those moments with Pikachu. Hey buddy, you deserve a good long rest. He's so nice. Or also, I choose you! I can't keep my eye open when I say that.
My favorite.
Awesome. Yeah. Any other questions, or should we call it there? Yes.
I forgot it.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I have a Q&A later today at 6 o'clock. So bring your other questions there.
Oh no, I got a family dinner.
Oh, no, well then tomorrow,